Welcome. I'm Michelle Murphy of Murphy, Watson and Company, and today I'm afraid it's only moi. Dawn Watson is busy on assignment for her day job, which is, as you know, features editor of the Southampton Press and the East Hampton Press, so she's a very busy lady. But today, my company is a fellow I met here at LTV. And I'll tell you about this little funny story. A lady walks into LTV, moi, again, and I'm here for the Artists and Writers Benefit, which has tremendous buzz. It was so cool. And I could only stay a little while, so I'm walking around, cruising the place, checking out who's there, who isn't, and I see my buddy Walter Isaacson, Ken Oletta, Elena Prohaska-Glenn, Leaf Hope, and I'm wearing this very t-shirt. And lo and behold, this very cool guy comes up to me and says, "Hey, you're wearing an old friend of mine's t-shirt, Blondie." And I said, "Oh, well, my brother Matthew Murphy was her tour manager." And he said, "Oh, I used to hang out with her." And poor Chris was in the hospital. We all know that story, and he got better. And it turns out that he says, "You know, here's my card." And he says, "It's something called a Vistaprint." So I go home, I look up Vistaprint, and I get my own Vistaprints. And then I'm over at my printmaker, Warren Padula's studio, who does my giclées for my paintings, and he pulls out a fantastic painting of Abraham Lincoln. And I'm going, the synapses are clicking, and I say, "Gee, that business card of that guy I met was of Abraham Lincoln. Could it be the same one?" So lo and behold, guess who we have here today? The very same one, William Quigley, ta-da! Artist and personality extraordinaire. Welcome.
Thank you. I have to say, you're very stunning in person.
Well, thank you.
I mean, I remember meeting you that night, but seeing you today I love your hair. I mean,
oh, thank you. Hey,
you're amazing. Thank you.
Oh, well, you are, and I got to keep up
And it's
with
really
this
nice.
guy.
I'm very complimented to be here. Not only here, but also in the Hamptons. It's East Hampton or wherever we are. I mean, I know there's differentiation between each Hampton, and then people who don't come here don't really get it. It's a big place, and you get lost like every other place.
You do.
It's not little, and there's you don't see everybody on the street, and it's very local, and there's pizza and good salads and babettes and
Oh, babettes you've discovered, yeah.
Well, I'm right in front of, I'm behind Babette, so.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing this very cool guy told me when we met. Everyone says they're an artist out here, and you go, and some of them are, some of them, anyway, it's not my taste or whatever. Who am I to judge any artist? Because certainly I don't like being judged either. But I say, "Where's your studio?" to this stranger, and he says, "Well, it's on Newtown Lane. Who can afford a studio on Newtown Lane?" And he says, "It's about the size of LTV where we were." And I'm going, this guy must paint big and charge big. So I can't wait to go and see your studio.
Well, thank you. I'm excited to have anybody come visit me, especially in the winter.
Yeah.
So everybody out there, we're around.
Behind Skank Fuel, right?
It's actually in Skank Fuel.
In Skank Fuel.
And Chris and his son and Rodney are just incredible people.
Yeah.
I get very excited just talking to them. I mean, Chris comes in and we talk about the history of Hampton's art. Jackson Pollock used to give payments to the Skank family in art.
Oh, no.
And his great-grandfather or grandfather discarded of them. They disappeared or were gone. Yeah. And I really...
The paintings are gone?
The paintings are gone.
Oh, my God.
They used to pay in oil. They used to pay in painting. He used to pay, and him and Lee, I guess, used to pay in his oil bill with art.
They often couldn't afford to even heat their house. I know it was tough. And groceries, they did that at the market in Springs.
Yeah, the general store.
Yeah.
Which I went to as soon as I got here. And my old friend, who's been out here for like 40 years, that's how I came out here. two ways I got at her, but
Is that the guy I met you with?
Jeff, yeah, he's
Jeff.
fantastic.
He is, and
Jeff-
he's doing some interesting things.
Jeff Bandman, brilliant, just brilliant, very underestimated, unassuming, I should say. I don't even know about that because I think he has an air of confidence, and he's a brilliant guy and a really good friend.
He comes across.
His parents are unbelievable. And
What are his parents' names? Maybe we all know
Sheila and Don Bandman.
them. Okay.
And it seems like anybody I meet of, like, I guess, prestige or like Don and Sheila usually have a story about them, like they know. And going over their home and having dinner and everything with them is just wonderful experience because I guess it's just common for them, but they've taught me and kind of given me so much inspiration and, and a lot of confidence going into certain situations. Like I just went to Guildhall, and Don and Sheila told me great stories about Ruth and Guildhall. And
Ruth Appelhoff, yeah.
She's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, what's going on over there is just phenomenal. I mean,
Isn't it?
Chuck Close. Laurie Anderson taught me in school when I was a freshman. Never even heard of her, and she just did a talk the other night.
She taught you?
Yeah, she was my teacher.
Where did you go to school?
This was in Philadelphia College of Art.
Boy, Laurie Anderson was your teacher.
Yeah,
I
and-
just saw her show. It
Yeah.
scared me to death. It's
Yeah, well,
frightening.
yeah.
She does this old man voice, and it's low, and you feel like you're in a horror movie, and she's saying scary things.
Yeah.
And she's so beautiful.
Yeah, well,
Sweet.
Yeah, she's incredible. She's
Yeah.
a very, again, she looks kind of, she's beautiful and sweet and very engaging, and then her work is completely intense.
Anyone married to Lou Reed, I mean,
Yeah.
she's edgy.
I mean,
Yeah.
he's brilliant. He's
Yeah.
one of the most brilliant minds in music, and did so. I think anyone who can last that long
Yeah.
and have that much respect in any field,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's arts or engineering or building bridges or plumbing, you just or even what the skanks do, that's hard work, and you just don't.
Isn't it?
And it's
Yeah.
all your relationships oriented.
Yeah, Fritz Skank is a good friend of mine too. He works over at the Ross School now, but he obviously of the Skank family. So anyway, tell me now, you are wearing one of your designs. You got to see this T-shirt.
Designs.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love this. This says it all.
Yeah, well, I think this is me. I think this is like my personality. I have to credit,
Bullshit, name drop, bullshit.
Yes.
And he even comes with a matching mug if you kind of show people the back
Yeah,
of that T-shirt.
Lena and the other, Lena, the producer.
Lena, our genius producer.
Yeah, she's amazing. She goes, "Oh, get a cup out of there." I saw this, and I go, "How perfect it!" Because we kind of had these dots. Can you see the
Yeah.
dots on the shirt? Like, can you see them?
yeah.
Well, the dots like this. I have to credit like my ex-partner in Scrapper. Her name was Katie Theophilus, and her sister Stephanie Theophilus. Were just brilliant. They're young girls, like new artists in New York from Tampa, Florida, and we had this company, and she really, together, her and I and her sister, came up with some really, I thought, great concepts, and she was a really great designer, and it was a real pleasure working with her, and we kind of built this. I had Scrapper going for about 8 years, maybe 10 years with this band I was involved with called Dispatch, and one of my closest friends, and still dear friend, is Pete Francis, who started the band, and his brother Eric Heimbolt. And I think what we're like, sometimes when you come new to a place, I just came back from Los Angeles, moved to New York in '99, and met Pete and this guy Paul Tillotson. It was like, he's a piano player, unbelievable piano player. And it's like you read the biographies of Bill Evans and Miles Davis and Oscar Peter, whoever you love. And then you start having relationships with people, and you can have dinner, and they can use your bathroom. You get like you
They're family.
engage.
Yeah.
Like there's certain things you love and certain things you don't.
Yeah.
I'm sure they feel the same way about me. Plenty of people, and
I'm sure they love most everything about you.
Well, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. But I just feel very lucky to have great friends, and I'm usually inspired.
It takes one to be one. You have to be one to earn one. You must be a good
Well,
friend.
then I have to work harder because some people just, they just dissolve. And
We have to all keep, what do they say? Friendship is in need of constant repair. There's that too. But
yeah.
yeah, if you've got the good intentions.
Well, I think anything in life, you just, you can't really fight the time moving on. And then sometimes you have these incredible relationships that are very concentrated.
Yeah.
And then you don't have them anymore and you miss that person. Like my
Yeah.
relationship with Pete and Paul, we were like literally, here's one of the greatest independent bands in American history, which is written about.
Yeah.
And Paul and Pete, and I had this, and Eric, Pete's brother, had this. Eric's brilliant director. One of the most brilliant directors I ever met. And
Really?
you meet these people, and they're your friends, but you're really attracted to their work.
Yeah.
And you're just
Right.
hoping that they like what you do.
Yeah.
And
Right.
then you start doing some things together. And then you have this you have this relic. That's what Katie and I had through Scrapper, was this relic. And while this was all going on, Pete was making music with Dispatch. Eric's doing his directing. He did like Who Let the Dogs Out. He worked with Josh Dillon. He worked, he did amazing things. Everything he touched became gold. And then I was involved with this other close friend that I knew longer than these guys, named Chiat, Mark Chiat. Just an unbelievable painter, unbelievable artist, unbelievable critical thinker, mind. And you don't really need that many people in your life, you realize, to inspire you and push you to make better work.
Yeah.
And
It's very important to have people like that in your life. And you've been attracting that energy. That's phenomenal. And you know what I'm enjoying, and I can say this to our viewers, is hearing these fresh names. Because your fresh energy coming from LA, is that where this group of people are?
no,
Or
Mark's
New
always
York?
been in LA. He's a definite LA Dodger.
But any of these folks live out here?
Well, Mark's father was very influential in the art world and obviously the advertising world. And yet, at the same time,
What's his father's name?
Jay Chiat.
Okay.
Yet, what's interesting with my relationship with Mark was we never really discussed his father very often. When his father was, I feel I'm very uncomfortable talking about it because Mark and I are very, very close friends, and he's everybody knows what Jay did.
Yeah.
And Mark has been like instrumental in my success. Like I wouldn't be where I am without. Maybe now I wear the glasses and hide because it's very powerful, our relationship.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy's literally, I think, an artistic genius.
Gee.
And he doesn't need to get it out. I don't know if he needs. I've known him 25 years. I don't know if he needs to get it out there.
I hear you.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I have to get it out there because I have no other way of surviving.
Right.
And I think he falls under the same tree. It's all about the process. He's always told me, like, even his father would say that to me. It's about the process. Your work is about the process. Enjoy what you do. Which brings me. My mind tends to go off on all these other tangents, and
The best minds do.
well, wearing these glasses actually keeps me a little more focused than I would be.
Okay.
Because I see this filter, and so even these glasses came from really new friends who owned Oliver Peoples, and then they started their own line called Barton Pereira. And I saw these glasses. I couldn't afford them, of course, and I don't think I ever spent more than $10 on a pair of glasses.
Yeah.
And I was making these prints, and I met Fred Mannheim, his name is, and his wife Patty Pereira, and their little dog Marley. And meeting like there's so many people in the world who just do unbelievable things.
Yeah.
And with this passion. And here's this pair of sunglasses, which I never really got into the whole culture. I live in Soho, and I never really buy shoes, or I don't shop. And
Oh, you live in Soho and out here. Yeah.
yeah, and I just never really get into the whole, even with the clothes, it's like this is really a reaction to Marc Jacobs, a reaction to Hilfigers, and
Yeah. Name drop. Okay.
yeah, like
Yeah.
Well, I'm not dropping the names. Marc Jacobs is my neighbor, basically.
Oh, is he?
Well, he was, and I would see him on the street, and
Yeah.
I went to every show that he did from 2000. I would somehow figure out a way to get in, and I mean, the guy is just brilliant in that world. I mean, his shows are unbelievable, and I'm thinking, wow, fashion. It's an interesting thing because you have like child slave labor in it.
Yeah.
You have, I don't know, people living in these horrible conditions making these clothes.
And then you've got the girls with anorexia trying to get the
Yeah,
modeling gigs.
Well, there's so much going on, and
Yeah.
and in a way, it all generates this this kind of virus that. And I watched the fashion industry in New York grow from like in '99 when it was really exciting and fun, and not many people were that involved with it, to now where like fashion week's like next week, and I'm sure thousands of people are planning their venture to New York, where they're going to go all the time and buying into this whole thing. And I think, politically, we can get into this whole political conversation about what, why you make art or whatever. But if you really knew the story about how these things occurred, and what's going on in the process, and do we really need another pair of shoes to attract people? You know, I battle with this all the time, and I think it's really crazy. Like, I drive a Subaru, right? I trade it with a painting.
You did?
And I was so excited when I got the car, because I didn't have one, to trade a painting for this car.
Oh, my God.
And this guy the guy owned the car lot, he could have given me a higher end car or whatever. But I was so happy to get the Subaru. I researched it. And now I have it out here, and I realize, like, people think I'm this, like, I don't know what people think, but, I feel like, oh, I'm after something. And now my values get screwed up. I'm like, oh my God, I'm driving a Subaru, and some girl, I'm not married, so I'm single, so some girl's gonna see me, or guy, no, or dog. No.
You're getting like Clive Davis here, whatever.
Yeah, you
works.
get into this weird world, and you're like, is that really what's important, or is your work important? Like, I went to the Chuck Close show the other day at Guildhall, and I looked at the work, and I was like, that's focus. Yeah. I mean, what an artist, right?
And he had trouble passing anything in school. He talks about that all the time. But he probably has the ADHD thing where he can hyperfocus. It's the turbo brain and the Chevrolet brakes. And on that note, we have to take a quick break for a costume change. Stay tuned. So we are back, and I'm still in the same old Blondie T-shirt that's ancient and I love.
Which is an amazing shirt.
Yeah, that's how we became friends. And I think we sort of had this instant connection, which I'm enjoying getting to know you as the audience is, because we're all sitting here just discovering William Quigley as I am. Now, this is another design of his. He is wearing a T-shirt. And I'm going to read to y'all what it says, because he doesn't even remember.
Well, may I intervene here?
Yes, please.
First of all, it was a pleasure meeting you again. And the whole, meeting you with the shirt, I'm always uncomfortable going up to anyone and talking to them about anything. I think even though it's my personality, like down deep, I've done it so often since I was younger that I'm really not skeptical, but I'm a little bit like more. I think working out of the subconscious is a really interesting place to be, always.
Oh, I do.
And we read about it all the time, Kandinsky. You read about it in so many different,
Kandinsky,
Freud or anybody.
Yeah.
And Einstein. Like, I mean, I just started reading that biography. It's James Joyce. Yeah, James Joyce.
Biography? Did you, by
sorry,
Walter Isaacson?
Yeah.
He just did.
Yeah, I got the book at the East Hampton Library on a sale.
Great.
They're beautiful. And I just started it, so.
Yeah.
But, that's another thing.
He just did Jobs, yeah.
That's another
Steve
thing.
Jobs, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, he did. That's right. That's right. I haven't picked out that. But what I was going to say is just this whole process.
Einstein,
This whole process with the shirt is like any company that's trying to brand themselves is always trying to get attention. And I am, is it victim or I'm, suspect or whatever of this whole process as well, because you want to keep doing it. That's my only goal in business, is to keep doing it. Whether I'm making money or not, or all that stuff, I think it's important. But I'm lucky. I mean, I'm not lucky. I don't have children or anything. But I wish I had a family. But I
never
don't.
Too late.
I know. Picasso, Gerhard Richter.
I started my family late.
Did you really? Do you have children?
I have 2 daughters.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And 2 stepchildren.
See, that's incredible.
Yeah.
It must be incredible.
It is.
Must be an incredible
I
feeling.
started late. I wasn't ready earlier. I was also very ambitious as an artist, and other TV commercials. I did a lot of that. And I had so much I wanted to do, and I knew I couldn't devote myself to my kids. And
How old
today
are
is my 2nd day of empty nest syndrome. And
Why, they're gone now?
Yeah,
Wow.
yesterday.
Wow, I know that's hard. I mean, I have a few friends, and I have sisters with children, and
Yeah.
I know how difficult it is.
Yeah.
I
But
know
it's
I don't know how
worth it.
difficult, but I watch how see, I feel.
Yeah, but you can't have kids till you're ready, or you screw them up and you mess yourself up. So I agree with waiting. And I'm an adoptive parent.
Well, how long am I going to wait?
Parent.
I'm getting up there.
Men have it. They have all the time in the world.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's interesting. It's really strange. And the process is bizarre. Now I feel like I'm shopping. Like when I was younger, I was after the romantic, and I still want, everybody wants that. You want to walk on the beach with someone you're in love with.
Oh, do you ever?
And that's not a Yorkie.
Yeah.
My sister thinks I had this relationship with her Yorkie. She's very upset about it because it's her Yorkie, and her Yorkie,
loves you.
That's another thing you wonder, like, what's the relationship you have with other creatures besides human beings?
Yeah.
It's a beautiful relationship, actually.
Well, I've got a Bichon, I know, and a canary.
Oh, wow, that's interesting. Canary. I'd love to meet that little canary.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful song.
See, I love this. I have a rabbit friend I just met out here.
Yeah?
Yeah, I feed him every day apples, and he doesn't really like plums. I don't even know if it's a he or she. But my goal was in the beginning of the summer was I'd love to be able to pet this rabbit. And now I'm like, it's feeding out of my hand. It kind of comes up to me when I come out of the house, hops along. He does these little spins now, where he runs and spins.
I can see your next 9-foot painting could
I'm really
be a rabbit.
preparing for
Why
the winter. I'm
John Alexander does monkeys.
Right, and those pelicans and things.
Yeah,
that boat painting he did was phenomenal.
Yeah.
I mean, that was, I went and saw that, and he's just great. I mean, he didn't even know. I met him, and I've been following his work for years. And as soon as I meet him, he was like, "Come on over to the studio." I don't even know if he knows I paint. He just
we'll go together. He has a great
guy.
studio. He's the only other artist
a legend.
I know. Yeah, and he has this huge studio in a barn that he rents from the guy from Saturday Night Live, Lorne Michaels.
Oh wow, another.
Yeah, I shouldn't say where it is, but anyway.
Yeah.
Do come by.
Sure. Wow.
Yeah.
We could do
He's
comedy.
a great guy. He is funny. Okay.
Lauren, we're not painting anymore. We want to do comedy.
Yeah, right.
We're expanding
We're
our
morphing.
horizons.
Yeah.
Multitasking.
Right.
So anyway, getting back to this thing, like, again, so many people have tried to read this, and that's the whole point of branding, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you see, a brand like Puma or, Sony or whatever brand, they, have their shirt and they just put their name on it, and they're like, okay, we get it. But Scrapper actually lives.
The color blue.
Yeah.
And you know what this is without.
I don't, actually.
Tiffany and Company.
Oh, beautiful.
See, they just got a color, that's all.
Audrey Hepburn.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. But with us, I want to be ambiguous. I want to be like, where'd you get? What the heck's going on there? You read it and you meet these people all the time who tell you their whole lives, and I'm one of them. And it's weird because I am almost comically criticizing people like this, but I'm one of them. I'm the bullshit guy. I drop all these names all the time, but it's really when you're.
That's how we met. You say, "Oh yeah, Blondie, I knew her."
Well, I met her.
Yeah.
I actually met her in an Art Against AIDS benefit, and literally the night before I met her, I bought Auto America for I think $1 or a quarter. I was going to school in New York at Columbia, and I was in graduate school. Tough time.
Oh, at Columbia, getting what degree?
I was trying to get my master's
in
painting.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was an interesting process, but
I want to hear about that. Well, you're coming back as I just invited you back because we're scratching the surface here.
Oh, okay. Anyway, I met Debbie at this Art Against AIDS benefit. I was part of this benefit
Deborah
for
Harry,
AIDS.
yeah, Blondie.
In 1989, I think it was.
Wow.
And French Kissing USA was coming out. And literally, we go to this restaurant, Baracco, I think, or Barolo, down on, I think it was on Church, and I didn't know downtown New York at all at this time. It was 1989, just got there. I was trading work with Basquiat. I mean.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my, so you have a Basquiat?
Haring.
I
have 3.
And 3,
and not only that, I have a poster he gave me. I carried it around all night with me, thinking, should I throw this out that he signed? He signed Reg Bohemian's name to it, where the gallery was, and it was on my birthday. And then
which is what?
April 29th. Ooh. And he sadly, I've had this poster in my studio since the day I received it, and I almost threw it out a few times. Like I carried it around. You know how you carry a gift bag around? You're like, do I need this? And you pull everything out and go, only get the essentials. Yeah. Like the Patrick McMullen book in there or whatever. You get you're like, wow, thank you. You're always getting these gifts. Like,
Yeah.
you're supposed to pay for them.
It is funny
It's
out
amazing.
here. You're always getting these random
So
gifts.
nice.
Yeah.
So nice. This is a gift. So,
You're a gift.
well, thank you. So,
You're the top. You're a silver dollar.
who sings that?
Oh, that's a Cole Porter,
Oh, love Cole
or
Porter.
is it Noel Coward? Oh,
Wow.
sorry. It's from Anything Goes.
You know what's interesting about America?
Mm.
Not to cut you off, but you mentioned these names, and if you really think about it, America is only a couple 200, 300 years old, right? And the core of building
We've
the
had
country.
a lot of sex in this country
with a lot of different
to
types,
have this many people
with a lot of
expand.
different cultures.
Yeah.
And the core of building the United States was really like this really passionate. I'm going to prove that I'm a
Can do it.
scrapper.
Yeah, look at
I'm going
that.
to prove that I can do this on
Yeah.
my own, and I know I'm married, I have kids, but I'm going to do this. Cole Porter, all these people, amazing. Louis Armstrong, amazing, and that's only music.
Yeah.
You get into all these other fields, and now here we are. People were wondering, the vulnerability is set in a sense for other places, and that's where I think it's really important with the military. And instead of all this criticism with the government, those guys somehow get their act together down there. Realize they're representing not only themselves but other people, and realize and the country, instead of thinking about Gucci and Prada all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying anything about Scrapper, but what we represent, I hope, is this kind of young, following. I think I'm finding out here. It's interesting because out here in the Hamptons, there's unbelievable talent out here with this mindset that is very, I wouldn't say liberal, I would say realistic.
Realistic.
Realistic, not liberal, not
Yeah.
right, not left. Like, hey, we're not impressed anymore by our own stuff. The soldiers. Warriors was started out here. How brilliant is that?
Yeah.
How brilliant is that? And
The bunkers in Montauk. And, we're going to run out of time.
Yeah,
but
okay.
I do want to say, this guy, when he first walked in here today, said something about my dear friend Stephen Gaines, who ran for office. And I think this guy's going to run for office, and he's going to set everyone straight, right?
I don't know about that.
You're a little busy.
I don't
You're a
know
little
about running.
busy with
I'd
your...
love to build a hospital in East Hampton and
I
and
know.
a hockey rink.
Okay. And,
That'd be
and,
crazy.
And
If you
the,
can get
and
something
the
like that
summer
done.
skating rink.
Yes, exactly.
I'll go in on it with you.
That'd be crazy if that
Anyway,
can happen.
stay tuned. This guy is definitely coming back. We have so much more to talk about. I hardly even heard where you were born and, how you grew up to become this amazing person that you are. So come back, okay?
My mom.
All right. It was great getting to know you.
Thank you.